Hello everybody, PokeKid here, and today we are going to be talking about Solgaleo Lurantis, which is a deck that I have won a League Cup with, and just last weekend my brother got second at a League Cup. So before we get into the list, I just want to talk briefly about the history of Solgaleo Lurantis. So, the first time it appeared was surprisingly actually on the Sun and Moon Elite Trainer box. It had like a really bad list of Solgaleo Lurantis. And then Drew Kennett from Someone's PC he's written an article, made list. You can see his full list. He got top 16 with it at Anaheim. And he kind of made the list better and played it, got top 16 at Anaheim. So then it kind of got on the radar and everyone was like, wow, is this actually good? And I find it a lot of fun to play and I think it's really good. So let's just get into the lists. So this is Drew Kennett's list. And Solgaleo Lurantis, just because of Solgaleo's super hard hitting power, with Sunseal Strike that does 230 damage, is pretty good against, actually most of the meta. There's just not a lot of decks that can beat it. So, and, out of those, some of the really good matchups are Turbo Dark, Mega Mewtwo, and Mega Ray, just because they can't compete with Solgaleo's super hard hitting power, as well as its 250 health. Because against Mega Mewtwo, it takes 3 energy, except then you discard all the energy, so they can't hit you back super hard. And Mega Ray, it has 250 health, so they can't one-shot it unless they use a Kukui or Giovanni's scheme. So it's just really hard hitting and beats most of the meta. But the bad matchups are Deciplume, Volcanion, and Vespi. So he added Glaceon, which counters Vespi really well, except Deciplume can just Feather Arrow, so it's really not a great counter. So, and Volcanion's just an auto loss, because both Lurantis and Solgaleo both have weakness. Glaceon does hit them for weakness, except it's just going to knock them out. So it's really just an auto loss. So I'll just quickly go through the list. 2 Shaman, 2 Fomantis, 2 Lurantis, and with Lurantis, you're mainly going to be using Flower Supply to attach 2 basic energies to Solgaleo to power him up. And Solgaleo's Ultra Road is a really sweet ability that just lets you switch. And Soul Burst is just an amazing GX attack that lets you set up. And then you run 1 Genesect as a, basic attacker that's really good, as well as Drive Change is a nice little handy thing to have. I talked about Glaceon, and then you run 2 Level Ball, really for consistency. It's just for getting out those Fomantises, Cosmogs, sometimes Cosmoem, 4 Rare Candy to go straight from Cosmog to Solgaleo, 2 Super Rod. And with Super Rod, you're not as much going to be getting back energy as you are Pokemon, because this deck runs through Pokemon pretty fast. But the energy you just get back with Flower Supply, so you don't really need to get back Pokemon energy with Super Rod, and you might not even want to. 2 Floatstone, which you might be wondering, why the heck do you want Floatstone when you just have Ultra Road? But it's mainly just for if you only have 1 Solgaleo set up, switching and then retreating to get out of paralysis and stuff. And that pairs nicely with Drive Change on Genesect. And you've got 4 Grass for Lurantis, 7 Metal for Solgaleo, and 1 Water for Glaceon. And this deck basically revolves around Solgaleo and Lurantis, but then you kind of get to pick a tech Pokemon to run. And in this deck, it's Glaceon. oops, that was kind of stupid. And then the Genesect is sort of just, like, because you can only run, well, you can, but you really just, it'll hurt consistency if you run more than one different type of energy other than grass and metal. So you could add Genesect because it takes metal. So, we dropped from our finalists that my brother just got second with. We dropped the Glaceon, mainly because it doesn't do great against Deciplume, and there's, like, no Vespi in juniors or seniors. We dropped one rare candy, and both the float stones, we just found they weren't helping. And we sort of made this, our finalist, basically just, like, hard counter to Deciplume and Volcanion. And so let's go over to our list. Oh, whatever. Let's go over to our final list. Let's search it. Oh, wait, this is it, isn't it? Right here, and right off the bat, you'll notice quite a lot of changes. So, first things first. The chances of you, against Deciplume, very early in the game, not getting a turn of items is quite rare, because first, you have a 50% chance of just going first and getting a turn of items. And then the chances of them getting turn 1 plume are generally like 40 to 50, maybe 60% for decks that like really try to get it. So overall, that's like a 30 to 40% chance that you won't get a turn of items, which isn't that much. But we still kind of added cards. So we added Jolteon, which is both a good starter and helps against Volcanion. And I'll talk about how you play against Volcanion, because it's a pretty tough matchup if you don't know how to use Jolteon against Volcanion. And another reason why we felt comfortable dropping the Floatstones is because Jolteon has free retreat, so you can just retreat anyways. And the first thing you think of when you think, oh, the way you beat Volcanion is just make the tech Pokemon like either, I don't know, Regice or Wob, but we tested Wob and Regice and it really just doesn't work. So we added one Escape Rope just as a switching card, like just for backup. And we dropped a Super Rod and added a Brock's Grit. And normally I would just prefer Super Rod, but with Brock's Grit, you're going to have a lot of turns when you just don't need to play a draw supporter. So we added the Brock's Grit for item lock to get back your Pokemon, and basic energy if necessary. So we also added one more Cosmoem by dropping a rare candy. That's really just for item lock, because you might not get to play rare candy. In those situations, you're really just going to want Cosmoem. We also added a Delinquent just to get rid of Parallel City, because having only 3 bench Pokemon is really, really annoying. And then we also dropped a VS Seeker for a Lysander, which is something I've been doing in quite a lot of decks with Deciplume around, just because Lysander is actually, I found, a better tech against Deciplume than Hex. Because Hex is good and all, but Lysander, you can just Lysander and they'll just be stuck for the rest of the game. So I found Lysander to be super good against it. So I've been dropping a VS Seeker, preferably not a VS Seeker, preferably something else, but VS Seeker is always a go-to for adding a Lysander and going to 3 Lysander. It's just really helpful. So basically, the way you play against Solgaleo is, so you're only going to want to ever play 3 Pokemon, and that'll be 2 Solgaleo and the Jolteon. So you start with Solgaleo, and this Solgaleo, your first Solgaleo, is going to die, and use that one to Soul Burst, and you'll put 3 energy on your Jolteon and 2 energy on a second Solgaleo. And this strategy basically turns Volcanion from basically like a 10-90 to like a 40-60 or 50-50. So it works really well. And in the last round of my brother's League Cup that he got second in, he beat a Volcanion. So, and he used Jolteon to snipe a Shaman, which is what you're going to want to do. But more on that later. So, basically, you're going to have your first Solgaleo, Soul Burst, set up 2 energies on a Solgaleo, and then 3 on Jolteon. Then, this one's probably going to get knocked out by a Volcanion EX. You're in trouble if they knock it out with a normal Volcanion, but if they knock it out with a Volcanion EX, then you go into your second Solgaleo, attach another energy to it, and then Sunsteel Strike to knock out that Volcanion EX. Now, if they don't knock out your Solgaleo next turn, you're golden. Like, you're in really good shape. If they do, then you'll bring up the Jolteon in Flash Ray to snipe preferably 2 Shaman, maybe a Shaman and a Hoopa, or Volcanion if totally necessary. So Jolteon is for sniping Shamans mainly, to take those last couple prizes while they can't hit you. And then if they don't knock out your second Solgaleo, then if they have only played down 1 Shaman, you can just Lysander up anything basically and Sunsteel Strike it for the knockout, which is really awesome. So that's kind of the strategy against Volcanion. It's really simple, but really effective. So that is all for today. So I'll just see you all next time. Goodbye!